Dear friends and followers and fellow truck nuts, welcome back to my channel. Greetings from the Cascadia, and I hope y'all are doing well out there. And I would really appreciate it if you would give this channel a thumbs up and a subscription, because it would certainly help me achieve a little bit more success, especially going back to episode number 64 of Truckin' It, where I discussed rodeo photography. And if you haven't seen that episode, go check that out after you get through watching this. Because that's one of the other things I'm nuts about. So, on this episode of Truckin' It, do truckers have hobbies besides driving the big truck? That's coming up, and you're about to find out a big-time honest answer. Because, I mean, obviously we got to do something to kill that detention time, right? Okay, so welcome back to Truckin' It. This is episode number 190. Just 10 away from 200. And for those of y'all who have not subscribed yet, why not? Because I'll have more videos like this coming down the line. Trust me on that. Just like you trusted you-know-who. And I can't say their name because YouTube will kick me off if I say it due to politics. So, when you're not following politics, you're not listening to the chatter on the CB radio, and you're not having to drive or sleep, you're kind of in that zone where you're awake and wanting to drive, but you're kind of tired because you've been sitting for hours, and hours, drinking caffeinated beverages, whatever. So, well, let me start you off with how you combat boredom. We're going to set up this scenario, and we're going to go ahead and help you find out maybe what you need to be doing when you're not driving the truck. Because trucking is a lifestyle. It's a lot more than just a hobby. And sometimes you can incorporate other lifestyles into it, such as gamer, musician, photographer. But other times you might not be able to do that. So, let's set this up. Okay, so let's set up the scenario. You're going down. You just got to your destination. Your customer, after you meet with them on the dock, says, "Oh, we're going to take a really long time with you. I'm warning you, because you got a lot of stuff to unload or load up." Or you're in that situation where, like, you're in Wyoming, for instance. I'm sorry for those of y'all passing through there today, because I heard something about record-setting snow. And let's just say you're going to be sitting there a while. So how do drivers pass the time in those situations? Well, I'll tell you how I pass the time. The first thing is I get all my communication done. So that means things like making sure my e-logs are correct, making sure that my pre-trip is complete and that I don't need to do another inspection report, making sure that my paperwork's all in order and all my ducks are in a row just in case I have to go back to the sleeper. And then now this is going to depend on the environment. Oftentimes I'll film a YouTube video like this one. Oftentimes I won't. It depends on what the customer says about like cameras and stuff. Many customers of mine actually prohibit photography on the premises once I'm outside the truck. So, I have to talk with them specifically about it. 2 is photography is actually a great hobby to pick up. Because cameras are getting affordable for the masses in a lot of cases. The camera sales have been way down the last couple years, and some of y'all would definitely benefit from buying a real one instead of just using your phone. Because, and here's the deal with a real camera like this Canon M50. There's a lot more to it than what your phone is. This thing has a much bigger sensor than your phone. In fact, I can physically show you the sensor just by taking the lens off here. Look at that beast. APS-C size. Or this one, the Canon RP. It's a lot more expensive, but it's also got a full 35mm sensor. And it's great for taking landscape shots out on the road. It might get you introduced into things like sports photography down the line if you pick that up as a hobby. It's great for travel. Because, I mean, it is fairly compact and lightweight. But the best part is that, as you just saw me demonstrate, you can change the lens for something else on it. And I'm not kidding either. So I can change out this 24 to 105 for, let's say, a 70 to 200 when I feel like it. And what that enables me to do is those sleeper shutter therapy episodes that you see. Yeah. Those were all shot with a camera like this. You could also get into other hobbies. Besides photography, you could get into music. You could get into perhaps filmmaking. In other words, making stuff that's even better than what's available on my YouTube channel. You could get into PC gaming. I know a lot of guys are getting into that and playing things like American Truck Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator, etc. And by the way, gaming is an expensive hobby. Make sure you have the ability to run your equipment if you're going to do that. Such equipment's going to involve a power inverter, APU, perhaps a television, or if you're doing the console-based gaming, or a laptop if you're doing PC gaming like I'm doing. And every now and then. Another thing you could do to pass the time, speaking of PCs, is if you are into photography, use a PC or tablet to edit your photos and then submit them to your client or to your social media pages, where you gain a following that'll be a lot more than just phone selfies. So, like, for instance, if you see, like, an interesting truck and get permission from the owner to take a picture of it, you can then upload it to your social media, share it with that person, and perhaps a bunch of other truckers. And that's just a few examples of how you can get started. And here's another one that I've tried in the past, but, well, I failed miserably at it. Some of y'all are quite successful, and that's to have a pet in the truck. And that's, in my case, it's because the owner decided he just didn't want people to have pets in the truck. But, and this was in a previous job that I had, where the truck that I was running was already beat up and falling apart anyway. And so just having a dog in there was to keep me company was kind of what kept me sane for a little bit. And that's just some examples of what I have done. And if you're interested in letting me know what your hobbies are, you can let me know down in the comments below. And if you're a trucker and you're looking to try something different to pass your time, I could definitely suggest a few ideas to you, besides the ones I already mentioned. But, please, whatever you do, try to pass the time in a manner that keeps you awake, alert, and on your sleep cycle as much as possible. And you may end up finding out that you could do some really interesting stuff after all. And I've noticed a lot of y'all are getting like dash cams and such. That's another reason to learn photography. Because those dash cams are fantastic for recording stuff that is not just incidents and crashes. But I've seen some YouTube channels come up where they'll take a dash cam, for example, and mount it to their roof and actually just show the scenery going by. Or they'll take a dash cam and put it out their windshield and show all the dumb idiots that always like to cause trouble with the trucks. And sometimes these, even when they don't result in a crash, these idiotic moments just really drive the point home about why we have all this training and stuff in the first place. So, if you're going to truck, you've got to get a hobby. It's really that simple because it's going to keep you sane and it's going to help you. It's going to help you pass the time. And you're going to need to love it in order to embrace it. So, if you have any questions or comments about this, let me know down below. And until next time, let's make your best trip your next trip. Keep learning, keep thinking, keep on trucking. Adios.